Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today we have episode 3 of the 365 recap for you guys on the channel. And we have a packed football weekend, as always, to talk about. We have a big football weekend ahead, especially in the NCAA. So that will be very fun to preview as we're going to go over everything that happened this weekend, college football and NFL, as well as previewing what's ahead this weekend. Before I get into it, if you guys do enjoy, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications for more videos exactly like this. Without further ado, let's get right into it. It's Tuesday, as always. You know how it is on the channel, episode 3 of the 365 recap. And we are recapping week 4 of the college football season and week 3 of the National Football League season. So we're going to go over some of the top 25 games, give a little bit of takeaways. We're honestly going to kind of go quick over this, and we're going to do a big deep dive into previewing next week because we have a big weekend of college football ahead and a big sports weekend in general. So I'm excited. One of the best football weekends of the year right here on paper. So let's get right into it. Starting off, LSU beat their rival Southeastern Louisiana 56-10. Nussmeier 25-31, 273 and 3 touchdowns. In a rivalry game, the Miami Hurricanes beat the Florida Gators 26-7. Carson Beck 17 for 31, 61 interception, nothing special. But we know the Florida Gators defense is very good. Miami just much better this year. Billy Napier is on the hot seat, to say the least. 1-3 Florida Gators now, and 3 straight losses. So all coming to rivals. So it's gonna be Billy Napier's got to turn the season around quick if he wants to keep his job. But Miami, better team here. Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes are 4-0 as they beat the Gators 26-7. Oregon beats Oregon State 41-7 in a rivalry game. We'll be talking about the Oregon Ducks a lot, previewing their next week's matchup. Florida State beat Kent State 66-10. They beat them. That's just nothing really else to say. Tommy Castellanos only had to throw 13 passes, so Texas beat Sam Houston 55-0. Arch Manning, great game. Against probably one of the worst team in FBS, if not one of the worst teams in FBS right now. 55-0. 18 for 21, 309, 3 touchdowns for Arch. The Indiana Hoosiers absolutely killed Illinois. Kurt Signetti's boys scored 63 points over number 9 Illinois. Huge Big Ten win for Kurt Signetti and crew. 5 touchdowns for Mendoza, 21 for 23. Great completion percentage. I mean, they just killed them. A lot of people were picking Illinois in this game, and this is a big loss for Illinois. Basically kills their season because they lost by 53 points. So they just killed them, and Fernando Mendoza balled out. So 63-10, Indiana beats Illinois. In my opinion, the best game of Saturday probably was Oklahoma Auburn ranked matchup in Norman. John Mateer and the Sooners beat Auburn 24-17. Very defensive game. I think Oklahoma got to Jackson Arnold like literally 10 times. I think it was 9 or 10 sacks Oklahoma defensive front had. Absolutely finished the game at the end with a few really big pressures to basically back Jackson Arnold up into his own end zone and get a game-winning safety. But they're 4-0. They're undefeated in the SEC now. Auburn falls to 3-1. I believe they're out of the AP poll now. But it was reported today John Mateer will miss a few weeks, so he'll miss the Red River rivalry versus Texas in a few weeks. So that will be very big. We'll see if Oklahoma can keep the train running without him. But that's a big injury at this point in the year. Oklahoma is looking very promising with him. He will be back. He will be back. It's not a season-ending injury. It's not very serious, but he will miss 3 or 4 weeks. They're reporting. So Oklahoma starts season 4-0, but it's at the loss of John Mateer. He played a good game versus Auburn and got the win. Ole Miss kills Tulane 45-10. Ole Miss is 4-0. They have LSU coming up. We'll talk about that more in a second. Tennessee beats UAB. They go to 3-1 coming off the loss versus Georgia. They win 56-24. Ranked matchup on Big Ten Saturday, number 17 Texas Tech versus number 16 Utah. Texas Tech gets it done on the road in Utah. I mean, they just played well. Kind of similar to the Illinois Indiana game. Huge Big 12 game. Texas Tech starts 1-0 in the Big 12. They win 34-10 in a game I think Utah was favored in. Texas Tech looks dangerous. They have a very easy schedule on the way out. They could be a college football playoff contender if they keep this train rolling. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. Georgia Tech start the season 4-0, 3-0 at home. The Yellow Jackets beat the Tedwood Temple Owls, 45-24. Haynes King goes 30 for 18, 161, and 2 touchdowns. Vanderbilt beats Georgia State. They are now top, or they already were in the top 25, but they continue their role in the top 25. It's great to see Vanderbilt no longer being a pushover in the SEC. They were always known as the worst SEC team for years, but Diego Pavia and the Commodores are really reviving what they got going over there in Vanderbilt. So they beat Georgia State 70-21. They're ranked. They're 4-0, 2-0 at home. I take it back. This is probably the best game of the weekend on Saturday. I said it was Oklahoma Auburn originally, but this is probably the best game of the entire Saturday slate. Michigan, Nebraska, Underwood versus Raiola was obviously the big headliner here, but in a very high scoring game, some firepower in the game. Bryce Underwood and the Michigan Wolverines get the win in Nebraska, 30-27. They took like a 10-point lead late. Nebraska scored a touchdown, just didn't get the onside kick. Raiola went 30-41, 308 yards and 3 touchdowns. Justice Haynes looking like a Heisman Trophy contender right now, 17 carries, 149 yards, and 1 touchdown for the Michigan Wolverines. The driving force to them winning this game. Um, Nebraska played well. They have a good offense, but every single time they play a really good team, it seems like every single time they play a AP top 25 team, it just doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. Yeah, I think Raiola's a good player. I think Nebraska's going in the right direction, but every single time they play a top 25 team, it just never ends well for Nebraska. Michigan gets the win 30-27. They're 1-0 in the Big Ten. Another big game in the SEC, South Carolina, Missouri. South Carolina falls to Missouri. Missouri goes to 4-0. They continue their top 25 run. They win 29-20. They win by 2 scores technically. South Carolina falls 2-2, 0-2 in SEC play. Huge loss for South Carolina. I was so high on Lenore Sellers coming into the year. He was my Heisman Trophy pick. I thought he was the favorite, and I thought he was going to win the Heisman Trophy. Lenore Sellers, he's not playing bad football. As you can see, 18 for 28, 302, and 2 touchdowns. But with his team playing like this, it just doesn't is not promising. So South Carolina's 2-2. They're 0-2 in the SEC. It's going to be a big hole to climb out of. Notre Dame beats Purdue 56-30. Obviously, Notre Dame picks up their first win of the season in week 4. Very controversial coming into the week that they were still ranked in the top 25, but they get their first win of the year. Um, the Notre Dame defense without Al Golden, it looks weak. Looks weak without Al Golden. Al Golden, obviously, the new defensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Notre Dame defense doesn't look the same. Purdue is not a great program, and they dropped 30 on Notre Dame's head. Um, Notre Dame still scored 56 in the end and won the game, but their quarterback, 21 for 34, 250, and 1 touchdown. Jeremiah Love played well for Notre Dame, 19 carries, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But we know Jeremiah Love is one of the best running backs in the entire country, if not the very best. Most would tell you he's pretty much the very best. So Notre Dame escapes, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing from the Notre Dame defense through a few weeks now. So we'll see how it ends up going. But Notre Dame beats Purdue 56-30. And the nightcap, this game was at 11 o'clock Eastern. I think it kicked off. USC beats Michigan State at home. USC continues their top 25 run. They're still ranked. They 45-31, very high scoring game. Mayava goes 20 for 26, 234 yards and 3 touchdowns. USC looks good right now. They look very good right now. They're 4-0, 2-0 in the Big Ten play now. Michigan State was previously undefeated. They had some wins against teams like Boston College, but USC's the better team here. They played at home and they got the win versus Michigan State. So that basically recaps a big weekend of college football. Wasn't a great weekend, wasn't a great schedule, but we had some decent games. But this weekend is what we're going to talk about. We're going to go to week 6 right now before we display the AP Top 25 poll. We'll talk about that. We'll give my takeaways going into week 5. I'm going to talk about week 6, but we have some games to preview. There are some bangers this weekend, so we're going to talk about them and basically give my thoughts on the games. So, starting off with Friday night, we have Florida State versus Virginia. Very good game on Friday night. Number 8 Florida State traveling to Virginia. 3-0 versus 3-1. First game in ACC play for Florida State. Second game in ACC play for Virginia. That could be a good game. FSU is favored by -6.5. But in my opinion, this is the best game. One of the best games of the weekend, and it's on Friday night. Number 24 TCU 3-0, first game in Big 12 play, traveling to Arizona State to take on the Sun Devils, who are 3-1, only loss being Mississippi State in a last-second touchdown. They're 1-0 in the Big 12. This will be a very good game. TCU, obviously, they've started the season undefeated. They are in the AP Top 25 now, but they're traveling to Arizona State. Arizona State is no pushover. Sam Levitt is a very good quarterback, and their season is not over. Even with the loss to Mississippi State has looked very good this year. It could end up being a very quality loss for Arizona State. So their hopes are not over, especially for the college football playoff, especially for the Big 12. So I think Arizona State has a really good chance to win this game, but TCU is no pushover either. They are ranked. So that'll be a very good two games on Friday night. Saturday, we have some games on Saturday too in top 25 play. Georgia Tech travels to Wake Forest. Georgia Tech looking to keep their undefeated season going. They have had a great start. I mean, they're playing well. Um, yeah, they should win that game though. Big noon Saturday on Fox. USC, Illinois, Big Ten play. Feels crazy to say USC in the Big Ten still, but USC's 4-0, 2-0 in Big Ten play, traveling to Illinois, who just came off an absolute killer loss by Indiana. And honestly, I think USC wins this game again. I think USC knocks Illinois out of the top 25. I think they've clearly looked like the better team through, what is it, 4 weeks now, going into week five. So give me USC in this game, but this should be a very good football game as well. Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt will call that game. Notre Dame at Arkansas. Arkansas coming off a big loss to Memphis on Saturday. They did not look good at all. I mean, I thought Arkansas could be a sleeper this year. I thought they'd be very competitive in the SEC, but now they've lost two straight games. Notre Dame should win this one handily. Arkansas will score some points. As I said, I've not liked what I've seen from the Notre Dame defense, but I just think Notre Dame's a better team here, clearly, and they're going to win that game. Utah State at Vanderbilt. Vandy should win that game at home pretty handily. This is 3:30 CBS. Big Ten play, first game in Big Ten play for both these teams. 3-0 Ohio State, number one team in the country, defending national champions, versus the Washington Huskies, which are also 3-0, 0-0 in the Big Ten. If Washington can pull off an upset here, honestly, I like Ohio State to win more than that. I like Ohio State to win by at least two scores. OSU negative 8.5, I think is generous. I'm definitely taking that spread. I think OSU wins by more than that. But if the Washington Huskies can somehow pull off an upset here, they'd be in the top 25 almost guaranteed. But Ohio State's clearly a better team here. They should win this game. The first real banger of the Saturday slate, LSU versus Ole Miss, obviously SEC rivalry game. Both undefeated in the SEC. Brian Kelly versus Lane Kiffin. Garrett Nussmeier coming into this game very hot. Um, LSU's probably a better team here. Ole Miss is favored actually at home. So this will be a very interesting game in Oxford to see who wins this game. But I'm gonna pick LSU, but it'll be interesting. That one will be very interesting. Auburn, Texas A&M. Auburn coming off the loss to Oklahoma with John Mateer last week. Texas A&M, one of the better resumes in the nation right now with the wins they've had. They beat Notre Dame. So they've had some very quality wins. First game in SEC play for Texas A&M. Second game in SEC play for Auburn. I expect Texas A&M to win this game in College Station. This should be a win for Texas A&M. Indiana, Iowa should be an interesting game. 3:30 at Peacock as well. Both 1-0 in the Big Ten. Iowa coming off the win on Friday night. Tennessee, Mississippi State, SEC battle as well. Mississippi State is still undefeated. They're playing their first game in SEC play, and Tennessee's 3-1. Tennessee's 3-1, only lost to Georgia. They should get their first win in SEC play here, but do not sleep on Mississippi State on keeping this game close. Arizona, Iowa State, another good game. Two undefeated teams. Arizona playing their first game in Big 12 play, and Iowa State trying to go 2-0 in Big 12 play. And then these two. These two games at the same exact window will be absolute cinema. We'll have a quad box going. We'll have a banger of quad box going. We'll have this game in the quad box. We'll have Oregon, Penn State. We'll have Alabama, Georgia, and we'll have whatever else is on that. It's probably an unranked versus unranked game. That'll be also pretty good in that window too. But the number six Oregon Ducks, led by Dante Moore, versus the number three Penn State Nittany Lions, led by Drew Aller. This should be a very good game in Happy Valley. College game day is going to Penn State this week, so it's the whiteout game for Penn State. This should be a fun one, people. I mean, Rematch of the Big Ten championship from last year in Indianapolis. I mean, I am excited for this one. I think this should be a very good game. Will Oregon choke in a big game? We'll see, but I like Drew Aller. I like Penn State a lot. And the whiteout game's gonna be a crazy atmosphere, but this should be a banger of a football game. And then we have Alabama, Georgia. Alabama coming off the bye week last week. Georgia also at 3-0. Alabama's first game in SEC play. Ty Simpson coming off a few good performances in a row versus ULM in Wisconsin. That's their two wins. So I think Georgia will win this game at home. I mean, it's in Athens. It's going to be a tough game for Alabama to win. But if Alabama does win this game, their season is back on like this. Let me tell you that. Their season's back on. Kalen DeBoer will have some supporters again. So yeah, Alabama, Georgia. Missouri should beat UMass at home and BYU in Colorado in the late window. 3-0 BYU just sneaking into the top 25 in Boulder to take on Colorado and Deion Sanders, who have not looked very good at all this season so far. So should be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, we have a big week of college football ahead. Let me tell you that much. So let's take a quick look at the top 25 and go over everything that happened in the NFL in week three. And here is this week's AP Top 25 going into week number 5 of the college football season. Ohio State still taking number one spot, obviously. That's been the case for all 3 episodes of the 365 recap, followed by Miami in the number 2 spot, Penn State, LSU, Georgia, Oregon, Penn State. That should be a banger. As I said, I'm so excited for that game. Oklahoma at number 7 now. They have one vote to be number 1 in the country. That's crazy. Um, but we'll see how they're gonna end up playing without John Mateer for a few weeks. We'll see how the injury ends up affecting them. But the committee is very, very high on them at number 7. So they're up 4 spots from last week at number 11. FSU at number 8, they go down 1. They're still undefeated. Texas A&M goes up 1. The committee or people have said that Texas A&M might have the best resume in the entire country right now. We'll see how much to fruition that comes. Texas A&M, I mean Texas Longhorns 3-1. They're down 2 spots from last week. They beat Sam Houston. Indiana jumps up the rankings 8 spots with a 53-point win over Illinois. Texas Tech at number 12. They could be a sleeper for the college football playoff at this point. They have a pretty much a cruise control schedule for the rest of the year, so they could potentially go undefeated. The Big 12 championship could be key. I mean, Texas Tech at this point is almost a lock for the Big 12 championship. Ole Miss, Iowa State, Tennessee. Iowa State down 2 spots. Ole Miss at 13 still. Tennessee, Georgia Tech in number 16 spot, still in the top 20. Alabama goes down 3 on their bye week. Vanderbilt up 2, 4-0 Diego Pavia. Michigan goes up 2 spots with the win over Nebraska. Missouri, USC goes up a few spots with the 45 points scored over Michigan State. Notre Dame goes up 2 spots with the win over Purdue. They're still hovering around that 20 spot. Go up 2 spots for 24, though. Illinois falls down 14 spots in the blowout loss, and TCU and BYU, unranked last week, both undefeated teams, sneak into the top 25. And the coaches poll, nothing really special going on here. They have BYU and TCU flip-flopped. They have Illinois at the same exact spot, or they had Illinois at number 8 last week, which that's interesting. But there's nothing really interesting here. I mean, they have Oklahoma at 10 versus AP, having Oklahoma at 7. That's pretty interesting. But other than that, that's pretty much it for college football rankings. We'll see how this week ends up going. We have a banger of a college football schedule this weekend. We have a banger of a football schedule overall this weekend. We have a big Thursday night game, which we'll talk about in a second. Um, so yeah, should be very, very interesting to watch football this weekend. And now, let's recap NFL Week 3, everything that happened, and do a quick preview of NFL Week 4. Then we'll get up out of here. So yeah. NFL Week number 3. Let's recap it real quick before we get off here. Last Thursday, Miami and Buffalo in an AFC East tilt. Josh Allen, 3 touchdowns, 22 for 28, 213, and 3. Buffalo gets past Miami. They go to 3-0. They beat Miami 31-21, knocked the Dolphins to 0-3. Miami actually showed some fight in this game. I was pleasantly surprised. I did think they'd show a decent amount of fight since it's a rivalry. It's an AFC East game. Division opponents know each other very, very well. But James Cook balled out as well, and Buffalo gets the win to go to 3-0. On Sunday, wait, What is this? I don't even remember this game. Like, what happened here? I didn't even know this game was played on Sunday. That's crazy. That's crazy. This game was played? Wow. I didn't think the Bengals played on Sunday. Wow. In all seriousness, Minnesota absolutely slaughters the Bengals, and I took them off the big screen at half. That's how bad it was. I mean, 5 turnovers. Minnesota wins the turnover battle by 5. Jake Browning throws 2 picks, 1 pick 6 to Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah Rodgers posts the best PFF grade in NFL history at a 99.5, I believe it was. Carson Wentz wasn't anything special. He just did enough. Jordan Mason played well. He gashed the defense in the second half. Justin Jefferson did enough. But it really was Isaiah Rodgers and the Vikings defense that was the driving force of the win. I mean, the Bengals defense didn't play particularly well, but in the second half, when you're down by almost 30 points, I mean, your defense has zero confidence at that point. Everybody in that building knows the game's over, and Zach Taylor had to be just slowly silent at halftime with how bad that first half was. I mean, it was bad. The run game, the Bengals run game, there's just so many problems with the Bengals run game right now. Chase Brown, I know he's a good player. I know he is. You put Chase Brown in 31 other NFL offenses, and he's absolutely balling out. It's just the Bengals run game scheme. I'm ready for a new head coach. I've staked my claim already. Zach Taylor needs to be fired. He's holding the Bengals back, especially with Jake Browning. I mean, when Joe Burrow comes back, it's going to be a whole new thing, but he's just holding the Bengals back, man. The offensive line's still a problem, and they don't have scrubs on the offensive line. Orlando Brown Jr. is a perennial Pro Bowler. Dylan Fairchild was playing guard at Georgia. Ted Karras has been a solid guard. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's been a solid guard in the NFL for years. Dalton Reisner has had elite pass blocking grades with Denver and Minnesota in the past few years, and he comes to Cincinnati, and obviously, and all of a sudden he sucks. And Amarius Mims was a first round pick, so something's got to change here. I think Zach Taylor needs to be fired. I'm staking my claim on that, and I stand on that, but I still stand by the Bengals will be competitive. I think they'll be competitive this season. I don't think they'll suck, and I think they'll put up a better fight versus Denver, no matter I think they win or lose or not. We'll go over that in the game picks on Thursday. But yeah, bad loss for the Bengals, and I was pretty confident going into this game, so it's pretty crazy to see how this ended. But Minnesota killed us. A win is a win, and the Bengals just did not come to play on Sunday. Cleveland upsets Green Bay on a blocked field goal. I mean, there was a ton of blocked field goals this weekend. Cleveland blocks the field goal. Andre Schmidt rebounds from his couple miss. He missed a field goal week 1 against the Bengals that caused them to lose. He beats the Green Bay Packers in a shocking upset, with the biggest upset in the NFL season thus far. Indianapolis beats Tennessee. Indianapolis is 3-0. They continue rolling. Jonathan Taylor, stellar game, 17 for 102 and three touchdowns. Daniel Jones played well again, 18 for 25, 228 and 1 touchdown. I mean, he is balling out. Am I ready to call the Colts elite yet? No, I'm not. I'm not ready to call the Colts elite yet. I think Daniel Jones is playing great. I'll give him his flowers, but I'm not ready to go there yet. Pittsburgh beats New England 21-14. Aaron Rodgers 2 touchdowns. New England, kind of like Cincinnati, turned the ball over a lot. I think Ramondre Stevenson had 2 fumbles. Drake May might have had a fumble. I mean, New England was turning the ball over left and right. If New England didn't lose the turnover battle so bad, they could have won this game. Steelers nothing special this day, but they did enough. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers go to 2-1. The best game on paper the weekend ends up being one of the best games, maybe the best game of the actual weekend. 26-33, the Eagles beat the Rams at home. Jordan Davis seals the Eagles win. Blocked field goal. The big man rumbles all the way to the end zone. Eagles walk it off with a win. Jalen Hurts played a stellar second half, 21 for 32, 226, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, it was the Eagles were very sluggish in the first half. I think this game was 26-7. AJ Brown woke up, Devontae Smith woke up, and the Eagles come from behind 33-26. Puka Nacua had a good game, 11 for 112. The Jets beat the Buccaneers, game-winning field goal. Baker Mayfield, another game-winning drive. Tampa Bay starts 3-0. The Jets had a blocked field goal touchdown as well. We're talking about a few blocked field goals this week, but it wasn't enough. Left Baker Mayfield too much time. But I am really loving Aaron Glenn and the Jets are doing. Even though they're 0-3, it feels like the Dan Campbell that we saw in year 1 in Detroit, where the culture change is slowly shifting. And Aaron Glenn, I was critical of the Aaron Glenn hire. I wasn't a fan of it, but I mean, it looks like they're going in the right direction so far, even with 3 losses. Aaron Glenn shows energy. The players are playing for him, so I think they're going in the right direction. Marcus Mariota leads the Commanders to 41 points and a 41-24 win. Trey Tucker had a great game for Vegas in this game, but it wasn't enough. Bill Krosky Merritt, man, I have him on two of my fantasy teams, and I see guys like Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez getting carries, and it just hurts my heart. Like, why is Bill Krosky Merritt not the bell cow back in Washington? Carolina shuts out Atlanta, a 30-point shutout. I mean, Michael Penix was bad, 18 for 36, 172, and two interceptions. He was not good at all. Atlanta puts a goose egg up on the board. After the way their defense was playing against Minnesota, I expected them to come out and win this game against division rival. Bryce Young balled out. They got their home win, and they go to 1-2. In a low-scoring affair, Jacksonville beats Houston 17-10. Houston's season's over. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing from CJ Stroud lately. He hasn't been the same since rookie year, and it's a big win for Jacksonville. I mean, it might be is Indianapolis and Jacksonville going to be the two that run this division? I mean, CJ Stroud has just not played well since his rookie year, and every single week I get less and less confident in him. And that clip where he's talking to Caleb Williams at the end of the Sunday Night Football game in week 2 last year, where he's giving him advice and all that, and not to take hits, that's going viral right now because of how bad CJ Stroud's played since his rookie year. But I'm ready to call the Houston Texans season over, and it's going to be either Jacksonville or Indianapolis's division to win. So 17-10, they win. Chargers go to 3-0 with a win over the Broncos. Broncos go to 1-2. Chargers 3-0. Justin Herbert rallies Chargers with 23-20 win over Broncos and a 3-0 start. Herbert 28-47, 300 and a touchdown. Darnold and the Seahawks kill the Saints 44-13. Torrey Horton had a good game. I think he maybe caught a touchdown. He had a punt return. He played well. He played very well. Chicago beat Dallas. This is about the only game I picked right in a 50-50 pick this week. But Caleb Williams has coming out party. Ben Johnson gets his first win as a head coach. 19-28, 298, and 4 touchdowns. Luther Burden had a good game. Romo Dunze caught a touchdown. They had a sick flea flicker. And I don't know. Chicago's still going in the right direction here. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Romo Dunze. That might be one of my best takes of the season at the end of the year. The way Romo Dunze is playing for these 3 weeks, he's playing so well. So, yeah. The 49ers beat the Cardinals in a slugfest 16-15. Mac Jones just enough. Christian McCaffrey played well. Pearsall 117 yards receiving. Chiefs beat the Giants Sunday Night Football. Jackson Dart is now the starter for the Giants. Russell Wilson did not play a good game. Brian Dable announced they bench him today, and Bryant and Jackson Dart will start against the Chargers this week. Chiefs go to 1-2. They play a pivotal game against Baltimore next week, which we'll talk about in a second. And Monday Night Football, also one of the best games of the weekend, 38-30. Detroit storms into Baltimore M&T Bank Stadium and gets the win. Baltimore's defense did not play well at all. Lamar Jackson was fine though, 21 for 27, 288, and 3 touchdowns. Montgomery and Gibbs both balled out for the Lions. And Dan Campbell is right where he left off. After the week 1 blowout loss to Green Bay, everybody was questioning Detroit without their coordinators, but Dan Campbell's had a few statement wins in a row now, and the Lions are not going anywhere. Both these teams will be there in the long run. A lot of people are calling Baltimore season over. Um, I don't see that. I don't really see that argument after after this stretch of games. They have a bye week coming up, like week 7, week 8, and after that, it's just a pretty easy schedule from there. I think Baltimore will still be a playoff team at least. They'll probably win the AFC North still. I really can't see any of the other teams doing it. Um, But if they do lose to Kansas City this week, though, they could be at threat of losing the number 1 seed if they have any chance at that. So the Baltimore KC game this week, which we'll talk about like right now, um, is a big game for the AFC playoffs, obviously. So yeah, so we start off the football weekend with Seahawks Cardinals on Prime Video Thursday Night Football. This game's in Glendale. This should be a very good game. This should be pivotal for the AFC, the NFC West standings come the end of the year. I already know who I'm picking in this game. I know who I like in this game, so. I'm not going to say that until Thursday, but I know who I like in this game. Seahawks Cardinals, Darnold versus Kyler. This should be a very good game. We have an international game on Sunday morning. It's a pretty good one. Vikings, Steelers, 2-1 versus 2-1. Carson Wentz versus Aaron Rodgers. Obviously a neutral site, so it'll be interesting to see who can come away with the win here. This should be a very good game, and that should be a pretty entertaining game. Falcons, Commanders on CBS, 1 o'clock. They played a very good game last season and on Sunday Night Football towards the end of the year last season, and now they play again. So it'll be interesting to see. Probably no Jaden Daniels again, I'd assume, but who knows? Maybe he suits up. I assume it'll be Marcus Mariota again, so it'll be interesting to see Washington go on the road and see what they can do. New Orleans travels to Buffalo. Cleveland travels to Detroit to take on the Lions. Panthers Patriots 1 o'clock in Gillette Stadium with a couple of 1 and 2 football teams there. We'll see who can come away with that one. Chargers Giants Jackson Dart's first NFL start at MetLife Stadium on Sunday versus a very good defense. They're playing very well through 3 weeks. Arguably the game of the weekend right here. Eagles Buccaneers 3-0 versus 3-0. Pivotal game in the NFC. Two undefeated teams in the NFC could end up being very, very big come the end of the year, come playoff seeding, come divisional winners, come number one seed. Who knows? Could end up being very big. Mike Evans is likely to miss this game with a hamstring injury, so that could be big for Tampa Bay, but should be a very, very good game there. Titans, Texans, two 0-3 teams in the AFC South. That should be a pretty low scoring game, I think. Colts, Rams, interconference game here. Indianapolis comes in this game undefeated. Rams coming off a loss to Philadelphia. This game's in SoFi. Another good one. Jaguars 49ers. Jacksonville's healthy. They're 2-1. They look like they have a chance at winning the NFC South now with Houston being down, or the AFC South, sorry. And San Francisco, can they continue the undefeated run with Mac Jones? Another good one, despite both of them being 1 and 2. Ravens Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. Loser of this game is likely lost their chance at the number one seed in the AFC. Either way, it looks like Buffalo's gonna run away with that 'cause Buffalo's playing the best in the AFC right now, but it might just be the Buffalo Bills' year. Derrick Henry had a few pivotal fumbles last week. Baltimore clearly looks like the better team through 3 weeks, but in Arrowhead Stadium, Lamar versus Mahomes, that should be a very good game. Nance and Romo on the call for that one. Bears Raiders on Sunday. Sunday Night Football, another great one. We have a great football weekend ahead. Packers Cowboys. Michael Parsons obviously returns to AT&T Stadium. Packers coming off an upset loss versus Cleveland. Should be a good one. That should be a good one. Michael Parsons, 2 sacks. I'm calling that out right now. Michael Parsons, 2 sacks. And we have a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Two 0-3 teams in the AFC, Jets, Dolphins. That's going to be a very tough game to pick, I think. I think Miami has more firepower on offense, but I like what Aaron Glenn's building with the Jets. I don't know. That'll be a very tough game to pick. Dolphins will be wearing their rivalries uniforms for that Monday Night Football game. And we have the Bengals going to Denver to take on the Broncos. We'll talk more about it on Thursday, obviously, but 2-1 versus 1-2, pretty much a must-win game for the Denver Broncos at this point. They're falling so far behind the Chargers now. Already lost one game to the Chargers, and if they lose this game, the Chargers are probably gonna go to 4-0 this week. Realistically, they're not gonna lose to the Giants. So if they lose this game, their divisional hopes are over, and they have a hole to climb out of. But they're playing a Bengals team that doesn't have a run game right now, has Jake Browning at quarterback, and they're at home, so primetime at home. So we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, that was a lot of yapping. That was a lot of yapping. We yapped about some college football. We yapped about some National Football League. So yeah, football, baby. We're gonna have game picks on Thursday here on the channel. Week 4 game picks. We've had a few bad weeks in a row. I think 2 7-9 weeks in a row. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. It's just been atrocious these last 2 weeks for game picks, but let's see if we can revive the season at this point. It's just been bad. It's been bad. It's been so bad. So yeah, we have a big football weekend ahead on Friday. We're gonna talk about the Bengals on Friday. We're gonna have a Bengals video on Friday. We're gonna have a TGIF of basically a Bengals recap, outlook on their schedule, and everything along with that. So stay tuned for that. We'll have a video on Thursday with game picks, video on Friday with TGIF. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos exactly like this. And I'll see you all on Thursday with game picks. Have a good few days. Big football weekend ahead. See y'all later.